Welcome back. Family Echo is still unavailable. Stinks, but we have to move on. We'll come back to that when we can. It is 1669, and we only have a few birthdays, so let's get into them. Last year of the decade, very exciting. I love ending a decade. It makes me feel so accomplished. So we have Ruth Hobart becoming a young adult, no 3, 9, or 20. She survives. Silence Waldrick becoming an adult, no 2, 6, 11, or what? 2, 6, 11, or 15. Survives. Dakota Waldrick has to get at least a 9. He does not. Okay, that's not good. Abigail Hobart and Abraham Larkin need to do their last rolls for elderhood. 4 and 1. Abraham is dying next year. 1, 2, 3, 4. For our townies, we have, okay, Chogan is becoming an elder, so how much longer is he going to live? 13 years. Oh my gosh, 13. Okay. Wait, that came out to 16. 13, okay. Adult part 2 for Nyla. She needs to get at least a 9. She does. Is that the next birthday? Adult part 1, no 2, 6, 11, or 15 for Chenoa. She survives. And then I don't remember what the child roles were. I was so close to memorizing all of them. Sakima, no 13 or 19. Survives. Everyone survives except for my main characters. Okay, let's hop into the game. Alrighty, so here we are with Josiah once again. He is now seeing Delilah, and they have been, spotted around, and he is noticing that people are being a bit nicer to him. So he is noticing that he is getting a better reputation and all of that because of, the perception that he is, he's straight passing, even though, he's bisexual, but he's straight passing. He's in a relationship with a woman, and people see that and they like that he is acting in a way that they believe is how you're supposed to act, right? And so that is twofold, right? Because one, he has been feeling so lonely, and I feel so sad for him that he has been so lonely. But at the same time, it's like, do you want these fair weather friends, I guess you would say, because people have been cruel to him, they have shunned him and everything, but now that apparently he is, falling into line or whatever it is, now all of a sudden they like him. They want to spend time with him. They want to chat with him. They think he's fine. It's one of those things where it's nice because he has been missing his sense of community and his sense of feelings, and he's been feeling lonely, but at the same time it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, that these people are now they want to be friends with him, right? All of that stuff. And so that's something that he struggles with, because obviously he does want that sense of community and stuff, but he really sticks with Delilah because she is the one who has been consistent and true in her, attitude regardless of anything else, whereas everyone else, kind of flip-flops. And so him and Delilah are doing really well right now. Again, I'm not sure about the marriage thing. I'm not sure if we should get them married or not. He's not supposed to get married, but maybe we'll do it anyway. I don't know. Maybe we just won't let them have kids. I don't know. We'll have to evaluate later. But for right now, we're going to go over to Weedamoo, actually. Now, she has not been feeling well lately. I have life's tragedies back. She has not been feeling well lately, and she has contracted a fatal illness. And, oh, You know what? That reminds me. I have to put her on my list of people who died because I didn't do that. Yeah, so she is not feeling well. She's dying right now. Um, and she, she's not getting any better. They're trying, but nothing that they do is helping. And so she has been struggling through that as well. And, you know, we we're sad for her and we're sad for Chogun and their family, but this is one of the ways I'm moving along the story. I allow myself to kill Sims that have not, who are not necessarily supposed to die just yet. If they are one, you know, in the townie tracker, they are, not one of my Sims who has to roll for things. And then the second is if maybe they're not useful anymore, we're not doing anything with them anymore, and they can be useful otherwise. So there are going to be times when I'm going to kill Sims outside of the roles. So there's that. But Weedamoo is unfortunately one of them. She has lived a good life. We're saying goodbye to her. Moving on, once again, we are here with Nathaniel. So Nathaniel actually, we knew that he was going to eventually get bored of being a one-woman man. Now that it's just him and Chenua, and he has in the past woohooed with Silence. They have a woohoo partnership relationship. So that's something that they already have with each other, and so they have been spending more time together and more time woohooing and all of that stuff. And so one of the things that is going to happen is they are going to continue their relationship. But on top of that, he's learned now that he has been able to have um, now he's been able to have Chenua in the house when he was there with Hope and all that stuff, and so he has learned that it's nice to have your woohoo partner close by. So he knows that Silence is getting older. She is not getting married. She has not been looking for marriage or anything, and so he is going to invite her to come live with them back in their household. So him and Chenua and the boys, and so. He is going to ask her to move in, and she's going to agree because honestly, she does not really care to be around this whole situation where her family has changed. Her family with having Sadie come in. So she's back, and, Chenua is kind of looking at her like, okay, I mean, I'm sure she knew that this day would come. That's not a surprise to Chenua, but it is kind of, stinky, and she is kind of bummed about it, especially now that her daughter has passed away. There's nothing really connecting her and Nathaniel now that her daughter has passed. And so she is worried. Even Hope had kids with them, so she still got kicked out. So that's something that Chenua has to think about. Next, we are going to go to see Hope, now that we've been talking about her. And she is going to be here, and she is not getting along with her housemates. Of course, she's not, right? She is definitely one of those Sims that has problems wherever she goes. And so she has come here and is going to fight with both Nyla and with her brother, because her brother is sticking up for Nyla. He is, scolding her every time she gets into fights with Nyla. And, Hope just honestly, like, she doesn't like that they're happy. She doesn't like that she's not happy. She doesn't like that she's separated from her kids and that nobody's doing anything to help her. Like, her whole life, she's been kept kind of, you know, she's the woman. She doesn't have to do anything. Like, the man is supposed to do stuff for her, and she doesn't get why that's not happening right now. She doesn't get why her husband's not doing stuff for her. She doesn't get why her brother's not doing stuff for her. She does not understand. And so she is lashing out, and, with the only person who's trying to help her, really. And she's lashing out, and she is struggling with this transition and with, not being around her kids anymore and all of that stuff. So she really is struggling. And So she is definitely on one of her last chances here in the family. She is not very welcome with the three of them after her attitude has been, and she's fighting her brother, she's fighting Nyla, she's fighting everybody. So that's not going super well. And then we are going to head out again. Yeah. Okay, we're going to head out again, and we're actually going to head over to see Sadie, who we just talked about a little bit. Now, Sadie has been struggling because honestly, Elliot, like, has Alzheimer's or something. Like, he's deteriorating mentally, and he's, getting really mad at her for not having a baby. And, she's really struggling in this new capacity. And so she, tried to make friends with silence, and it did not work. And then also, Edmund has been here, and, they're talking, and, she's trying to make friends with him. But I mean, he has a reputation, right? Everybody knows that he woohoos with everybody. And so, they're having this conversation, and he's like, "Well, you need to have a baby, right? Like, that's the problem. Like, are you sure that it's you that's the problem? Are you sure it's not him that's the problem?" And so he's like, "Look, it's still technically his genetics. Like, I can give you a baby. I can give you what you're looking for and what you need in order to make my father happy." And so she thinks about it because she's like, this is really wrong. Obviously, this is not right. But she's so sick and tired of hearing all of the complaints and this and that. And she's like, you know what? Maybe, maybe this could work. Maybe he's got problems, and maybe we can solve the problems some other way, you know? So they are going to woohoo, and she is going to get pregnant. So she is now pregnant, and that is where we're going to wrap up with her situation for now. Next, we are going to head to Temperance, right next door. And so, as you know, Mercy did pass away because she got into magic when she didn't know what she was doing, and she overloaded. And so Temperance is like, look, I have to talk to my children about this. Like, I cannot let that happen again. And so she talks to her other two children, and she's like, look, the truth is, we are spellcasters. We are spellcasters, and we have magic, and you need to use it responsibly and safely, and you can't get caught, and you have to make sure you don't overload, and like all these things. She's trying to tell them all of the things that they should watch out for, not just in society but also within their own powers and everything. And they think that this is pretty cool, right? Especially Thomas. He thinks it's really cool. He loves the idea that he could, wield this power. And so Temperance is like trying to talk to them about using magic responsibly and all this stuff, and trying to make sure that they are safe. And so she is going to be teaching them magic from now on. She's going to teach them a few spells. We're going to get this book here that just teaches them all the spells and stuff. But she is going to do that so that she can make sure that her children are safe and make sure that nothing happens to them. So she wants to make sure of that. So that is why she's teaching them. And so they will be learning over, the course of however many years, where we're not going to really be seeing them learning it at the same time, but we know that they will be doing that. And you can see here, we're clicking on the book, we're getting that done. And we are going to continue forward with their magical education. And so they are really excited about it. Both of them, and Trinity is going to go out and she's going to practice on the plants and stuff. And they're both excited, and they're both, feeling powerful and strong and confident and all of that stuff. And so that's really what Temperance wants to foster in them, but also while making sure that they realize what a big deal this is and how dangerous it can be for you to be caught doing this. So she is concerned, but she doesn't want either of them to end up like Mercy. So that is what is going on there. And we are going to have her doing that. And then, yeah, I think that's all we're going to do here for today. So next we are going to head out to the Hobart household and see Ruth. So Ruth is becoming a young adult this year, as you know. And she's becoming a young adult, and she is here with her brothers. And honestly, she has had kind of a rough life as like the eldest daughter here. Actually, let me make sure. Is she the eldest daughter in that family? I'm pretty sure she is. And both their parents, yeah, Obadiah is the eldest, and then Ruth. So she's the oldest daughter, and she has really struggled. Her parents died when all the kids were pretty young, and so, she has had to take on a motherly role. Meanwhile, like, they were all very young and they weren't really making any money, and they've had to forage and scrape together. And like, there were so many kids in that family. You guys remember there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. Three of them died. But not in childbirth, so they were alive for a little while. And so, there are so many kids and so many mouths to feed and so much to figure out, and it's just been so difficult for them. And so they have been struggling with that. And so one of the things Ruth has to do is go out and forage and make sure that everything is okay, and like help, along with the family. She's still got 2 brothers living with her, and they're both younger than her, and so she's got a lot going on. And honestly, she's kind of sick of it. Right? Like, she's kind of tired of having to be responsible all the time, having to always work to the bone, where she's always out foraging, always planting, gardening, collecting, fishing, like all this stuff, and she works so hard, and it can be a lot. And so she actually has been doing a lot further away from home, because one, she needs to forage further away, although I cannot find anything to forage on this stupid little island. But she's been foraging around her area, and she's kind of exhausted that area. So now she's coming a little further out. But not only that, but she also, like, she likes to go far away, because it gives her alone time. It gives her some breath, some peace away from all of the crazy. So she is also enjoying that. And she kind of realizes one night that she stayed out a little later than she anticipated. She tries not to stay out after dark, but she stayed out a little later than anticipated, and just kind of keeps going, but is very wary of, like, the nighttime, and what, animals or even people could, become a problem in the night, because, nothing good goes down after sundown, right? Oh my God, that was awful. That was an awful way to try to phrase that. But you know what I mean? Like, crime would be up at night. But she's way out here where just the Waldrick household lives. And so while she's out, Pullman here is out as well. And so they, see each other. And she's a little wary at first, right? Because she's in the dark alone, and here's a man, and so she's a little wary at first, but he's actually really nice. And they're chatting, and they're getting to know each other a bit. And so he actually just got a crush on her, which is super cute. So he gets like this crush on her. He's like, wow, hey. And and honestly, you have to remember too that, like, these Waldrick children, this whole family has been living on this island this whole time, and they have not been in with society. They haven't even been in with Chogun in them. Like, they are on an island literally alone. And so this is kind of his first time interacting really with someone outside of his family. And so that was, it was love at first sight. So he definitely has a crush on her now. And then we're going to start doing some birthday stuff. So Sakima Nokomis becomes a child. Ruth Hobart becomes a young adult. Dakota Waldrick unfortunately passes away. Weedamu Yazi also died. And so lastly, we do have the baby being born to Lydia and Obadiah. They have a girl, and she survived so far. She's born on the last day, so she survived her birth role, but we'll do her infant role next year. But she has survived, and her name is Deborah. So that is all of the birthdays for this year. I am very excited to start the next decade. I have a lot planned for you guys, and I hope you're excited too. And we are going to do our recap video next time. Yep, for our 1660s recap. And we're going to head on to the 1670s. I mean, how crazy is that? That is just so wild to me that we're going into the 1670s. And once again, I just want to apologize for, like, the state of my setup right now. I know that my quality of videos has gone down. I am still in between housing, so it really stinks, but hopefully soon we can get that resolved. Unfortunately, it'll probably still be a few weeks, but I want to keep getting videos out to you no matter what, so you'll just have to bear with me. and then eventually we can get everything set up nicely again. And the sound and the screen size will improve. So thank you for bearing with me. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next one.